The diplomatic vessel Harmony's Light was the pride of the Galactic Concord. It was huge. It was beautiful. It had hosted peace talks between warring species. It had seen the birth of alliances that lasted 1,000 years. And now, for the first time in its long history, it had a cat problem. Kethvari had invited representatives from 6 different Concord species to meet the humans. He wanted them to see what he had seen. He wanted them to understand that these new creatures from the blue planet were not like anyone they had met before. The meeting room was large and round. There were seats for every body type. Tall seats for the Kreth warriors. Wide seats for the Bravani grazers. Hanging seats for the Yillip who could not touch the ground. Everyone was comfortable. Everyone was ready to learn about humans. Then the human scientist walked in with a cat on her shoulders. Trade, Minister Yellow of the Bravani, was a gentle creature. He had 6 legs and soft brown fur. His species had evolved on wide plains, eating grass and running from hunters. For millions of years, his ancestors had learned one simple truth. If it has forward-facing eyes, run away. The cat had forward-facing eyes. Yolo stopped talking in the middle of his sentence. His body went stiff. His nostrils flared wide. Every instinct in his body was screaming at him to flee. "That creature," he whispered, his voice shaking, "is looking at me like I am food." The human scientist, a small woman named Dr. Sarah Park, looked confused. "Who, Duchess?" "Oh, she's not going to hurt you. She's just curious." The cat's name was Duchess. She was orange and white, with green eyes that never blinked. She sat on Dr. Park's shoulders like a queen on a throne. Her tail swished back and forth, slow and patient. She was watching Yellow the way a hunter watches prey. "It is calculating how to kill me," Yellow said. "She's really not," Dr. Park said. "Duchess mostly just sleeps and knocks things off tables. She's very lazy." Security Chief Dorvax of the Kreth was not afraid. His species were warriors. They had hard shells and sharp claws. They had fought in 100 wars. But even he felt uncomfortable looking at the little orange predator. "I have read the files on your companion animals," Torvax said. His voice was deep and serious. "This cat is a descendant of ambush hunters. It kills for sport, not just for food. It has retractable claws and excellent night vision. Why do you allow it to sit on your body?" Dr. Park scratched Duchess behind the ears. The cat closed its eyes and made a strange vibrating sound. "She's purring," Dr. Park explained. "It means she's happy. And I let her sit on my shoulders because she likes it. She feels safe up here." "The predator feels safe?" Torvax said. "Should you not feel safe from the predator?" "Duchess would never hurt me. We've been together for 12 years. She sleeps on my pillow. She follows me from room to room. When I'm sad, she sits on my lap and purrs until I feel better." Torvax opened his files on a screen. He scrolled through page after page of human companion animals. His confusion grew with each new entry. "You also keep creatures called ferrets," he said. "These are long, thin predators that kill prey larger than themselves. They were bred from animals that killed for fun." "Ferrets are very playful," said another human, a young man with a small furry creature in his pocket. "This is Noodle. Say hi, Noodle." The ferret poked its head out of the pocket. It had tiny black eyes and a pink nose. It looked around the room with quick, jerky movements. Then it disappeared back into the pocket. "You keep horses," Torvax continued. "Animals that weigh 1,000 kilograms. Animals that can kill a human with one kick." "Horses are wonderful," Ambassador Chen said. "I learned to ride when I was a child. There's nothing like galloping through a field on a summer morning. You sit on top of a creature that could crush you?" "Well, yes. But they don't want to crush us. They're our partners. We work together." Torvax put down his files. He looked at the humans with something like respect mixed with horror. "Your species is insane," he said. "You have taken the most dangerous creatures on your planet and made them into companions. Why? What purpose does this serve?" Ambassador Chun thought about this question for a long time. She looked at Dr. Park and her cat. She looked at the young man with his ferret. She looked at Captain Rodriguez, who had left Max on Earth but clearly missed him very much. "Trade Minister Yo," Chun said, "your species keeps companion animals too. I have seen the records. You have domestic grazers, small creatures that eat plants and provide comfort." Yellow nodded carefully, still watching the cat. "Yes, we tame prey animals. Animals that were calm. Animals that were safe. This is what civilized species do." "I understand," Chun said. "You tamed animals that could not hurt you. We did something different. We tamed animals that could kill us. And we did it because—" She paused, looking for the right words. "We did it because we were lonely." The room went quiet. "Lonely?" Tovak said. "Humans are social creatures. We need connection. We need companionship. And sometimes, the connection we need cannot come from other humans. Sometimes we need a friend who does not judge us. A friend who loves us without conditions. A friend who is always happy to see us." She pointed at Duchess, who had fallen asleep on Dr. Park's shoulders. "That cat does not care if Dr. Park is rich or poor. She does not care if Dr. Park is successful or a failure. She does not care about politics or religion or any of the things that divide people. She only cares that Dr. Park feeds her and pets her and loves her. And in return, she gives Dr. Park something precious. She gives her pure, unconditional love." Dr. Park was smiling now, scratching the sleeping cat gently. "Duchess was with me when my mother died. She stayed by my side for 3 days. She knew I was sad. She didn't leave me alone for a minute." Yellow looked at the cat again. For the first time, he saw something other than a predator. He saw a small creature offering comfort to a grieving friend. "This is very strange," he said slowly. "But perhaps it is also beautiful?" "It is both," Chun said. "That is what makes humans who we are. We see danger, and we reach out our hands anyway. We see predators, and we offer friendship anyway. We are afraid, but we love anyway." Torvak stood up. He was the tallest being in the room. He had fought in wars and killed enemies without hesitation. But now he looked at the tiny sleeping cat with something like wonder. "Your species," he said, "is either the bravest or the most foolish in the galaxy. I cannot decide which." Chun laughed. "Maybe we're both. But I hope you'll give us a chance to show you who we really are." Torvax nodded slowly. "I will, but first, I want to know more. I want to know how this began. I want to know how your species first decided to befriend a predator." "That," Chun said, "is a very long story, but I think you're going to find it fascinating." She was right. Torvax would find it more than fascinating. He would find it terrifying and wonderful. Wonderful and utterly, completely human. Ambassador Cathvari had seen many strange things in his long career. He had met species with 10 eyes. He had talked to beings made of living crystal. He had even shared a meal with creatures who breathed methane instead of oxygen. Nothing surprised him anymore. Or so he thought. The insectoid diplomat stepped off his shuttle onto Earth soil for the first time. The air was thick and wet. The sky was a strange shade of blue. Everywhere he looked, there was green growing things. It was a wild planet, barely tamed by its people. But Cathvari was not worried. He had done this 17 times before. First contact was always the same. Meet the leaders. Exchange gifts. Sign treaties. Go home. The human delegation waited for him near a large white building. There were 5 of them, all standing in a neat row. They wore dark clothes and serious faces. Very professional. Very normal. Kethvari felt his body relax. This would be easy. Then he saw the creature. It stood beside one of the humans. It was large, perhaps 40 kilograms of muscle and fur. It had 4 legs and a long snout filled with teeth. Its eyes faced forward, like all predators. Its ears stood up straight, alert and watching. Everything about this animal screamed danger. Everything about it said hunter. And it was not in a cage. Kethvari stopped walking. His guards reached for their weapons. The human delegation looked confused. "Is something wrong, Ambassador?" asked the lead human, a woman with gray hair and kind eyes. Kethvari pointed at the creature with a shaking claw. "That animal. Why is it not restrained?" The humans looked at each other. Then they looked at the creature. Then, to Kethvari's complete horror, they started laughing. "Oh, you mean Max?" said a tall man in a military uniform. He reached down and touched the creature's head. The creature's tail began moving back and forth very fast. "He's harmless. He's my dog." "Dog," Kethvari repeated. His translator had no trouble with the word, but his brain could not accept what he was seeing. "That is a predator. An apex predator. Its teeth could tear through flesh. Its jaws could crush bone." "Well, yes," the military man said slowly. "But he's trained. He's friendly. Here, do you want to pet him?" Kethvari took 3 steps backward. "I do not want to touch the killing machine." The creature called Max tilted its head to one side. It made a small sound, almost like a question. Then it sat down and looked up at Kethvari with big, dark eyes. Its tongue came out of its mouth and hung there, pink and wet. "He likes you," the military man said. "Look, his tail is wagging." Kethvari looked at the tail. It was indeed moving very fast. In his experience, when a predator moved fast, it meant attack was coming. He prepared to run. The gray-haired woman stepped forward. Her name was Ambassador Chun, and she was the leader of the human delegation. "Ambassador Kethvari, I think there has been a misunderstanding. Dogs are our companions. They live with us. They are part of our families. You keep predators in your families? We keep dogs in our families," Chun said, as if this was the most normal thing in the world. "And cats. And sometimes birds that hunt. And horses that could kill us with one kick. We have many companion animals." Kethvari's mind was spinning. He had studied humans before coming here. He knew they were omnivores. He knew they were social creatures. He knew they had built cities and machines and weapons. But nobody had told him they kept apex predators as pets. In the Galactic Concord, Kethvari said carefully, civilized species keep prey animals as companions. Creatures that eat plants. Creatures that are calm and safe. We do not keep predators. Predators are dangerous. The military man, whose name was Captain Rodriguez, sat down on the ground. The dog immediately climbed into his lap. It was far too big for this, but it did not seem to care. It licked the captain's face with its large tongue. The captain laughed and hugged it. "Max isn't dangerous," Rodriguez said. "Well, he can be dangerous. If someone tried to hurt me, he would protect me. But to friends, he's just a big baby. Aren't you, boy? Aren't you a good boy?" The dog's tail wagged even faster. It seemed very happy to be called a good boy. Kethvari watched this display with growing confusion. The predator was acting like a child. The human was treating it like a child. There was clear affection between them, a bond that went beyond simple ownership. "How long have you had this creature?" Kethvari asked. "I got Max when he was a puppy. 8 weeks old. He fit in my 2 hands." Rodriguez held up his hands to show the size. He's been with me for 6 years now. He goes everywhere I go. He sleeps in my bed. He's my best friend. Your best friend is a predator. My best friend is Max. Kethvari turned to Ambassador Chun. Is this normal for your species? Do all humans keep predators? Chun thought about this question. Not all humans have pets, and not all pets are predators. But yes, it is very normal for us. We have been keeping dogs for about 15,000 years. They are part of our history, part of our culture, part of who we are. 15,000 years. Kethvari tried to imagine his own species living with predators for that long. He could not. His people had spent millions of years running from predators, hiding from them, fearing them. The idea of inviting one into your home was madness. I think, Kethvari said slowly, that humans are very different from what we expected. Chun smiled. It was a warm smile, full of kindness. Ambassador, I think you're right. But I hope you'll give us a chance. We may be strange, but we mean no harm. And neither does Max. As if to prove her point, the dog had fallen asleep in Captain Rodriguez's lap. It was snoring softly. Its legs twitched as it dreamed. For just a moment, it did not look like a dangerous predator. It looked like a tired creature enjoying a rest with someone it loved. Kethvari looked at this scene for a long time. Then he made a decision that would change the future of human-Concord relations. Very well, he said. I will stay. I will learn about your people. I will try to understand this strange bond you have with predators. Rodriguez grinned up at him. You're going to love it here, Ambassador. Just wait until you meet the cats. Kethvari did not know what cats were, but something told him he was going to find out. And something told him he was not going to like it. Dr. Mellish was an old man with white hair and tired eyes. He had spent his whole life studying the past. He knew more about human history than almost anyone alive. And now he had the strange job of explaining that history to a room full of aliens who could not believe what they were hearing. The Concord Committee sat in front of him. Kethvari, the insectoid diplomat. Torvax, the Kreth warrior. Yellow, the Bravani grazer. And 3 others, all watching him with wide, confused eyes. Let me start at the beginning, Dr. Mellish said. He pressed a button, and a picture appeared on the screen behind him. It showed a wolf. A real wolf, not a dog. Wild and fierce, with yellow eyes and sharp teeth. 15,000 years ago, humans were not very impressive. We had no cities, no farms, no metal tools. We lived in small groups, moving from place to place, hunting animals and gathering plants. We were smart, but we were weak. Many things could kill us, including this. He pointed at the wolf. Wolves were our competitors. They hunted the same prey we did. They were faster than us, stronger than us. They had better senses. And they hunted in packs, working together to bring down animals much larger than themselves. Torvax nodded. A worthy enemy. I would respect such a creature. We did respect them, Dr. Mellish said. But we also did something else. We made friends with them. He pressed another button. The picture changed. Now it showed a wolf sitting by a campfire, surrounded by humans. We don't know exactly how it started. Maybe some wolves began following human hunters, eating the scraps we left behind. Maybe we found some wolf puppies and raised them. Maybe a brave human and a curious wolf simply met one day and decided not to fight. Decided not to fight? Yellow said. How does a prey species decide not to fight with a predator? Humans are not prey, Dr. Mellish said gently. We are predators too. We are pursuit predators. We do not run fast, but we can run for a very long time. We can chase prey until it falls from exhaustion. And we are very, very stubborn. He smiled at the aliens. Wolves saw something in us. They saw another pack hunter, another social creature, another species that worked together, that cared for its young, that shared food with its family. We were different from them, but we were also similar. And somehow, across the gap between species, we recognized each other. The next picture showed the stages of wolf domestication. Wild wolves became tamer wolves. Tamer wolves became proto-dogs. Proto-dogs became the thousands of dog breeds that existed today. It took thousands of years, generation after generation. The wolves that were friendly to humans survived. The wolves that were aggressive did not. Slowly, their bodies changed. Their faces became rounder. Their ears became floppier. Their tails learned to wag. You changed their bodies? HFY asked. We changed everything about them. We bred them for different purposes. Some became hunters, helping us track and catch prey. Some became herders, helping us control the animals we eventually tamed. Some became guards, protecting our homes and families. And some, Dr. Mellish's voice became soft. Some became nothing more than friends. He showed a picture of a tiny dog with fluffy white fur. It looked like a toy, not a predator. This is a Maltese. It is descended from wolves. Its only purpose is to sit on its owner's lap and be loved. That is its entire reason for existing. And people have kept these little dogs for 2,000 years. Torvak stared at the tiny creature. This came from wolves? From pack hunters? From apex predators? Yes, we took wolves and we made them into whatever we needed. Hunting partners. Working animals. Guards. Companions. We reshaped their bodies and their minds. We made them loyal to us above all else. This is... Torvak searched for the right word. This is terrifying. You took a dangerous species and bent it to your will. No, Dr. Mellish said firmly. We did not bend them. We partnered with them. The relationship goes both ways. Dogs are not slaves. They are not tools. They are family members. They love us as much as we love them. He clicked to the next slide. It showed brain scans comparing wolves and dogs. When a dog looks at its owner, its brain releases the same chemicals that appear in human parents looking at their children. This is called love. Real, biological love. Dogs did not just learn to tolerate humans. They evolved to love us. And we evolved to love them back. Humans changed too? Yellow asked. Yes. Humans with dogs survived better than humans without dogs. Dogs helped us hunt. Dogs protected us from other predators. Dogs kept us warm on cold nights. Humans who were good at bonding with dogs had more children. Over thousands of years, we became a species that bonds easily with animals. Dr. Mellish clicked again. The screen filled with images. Cats curled on laps. Horses running with riders. Falcons sitting on arms. Snakes wrapped around shoulders. Ferrets poking out of pockets. And once we learned to bond with wolves, we did not stop. We tamed cats to protect our grain from mice. We tamed horses to carry us across great distances. We tamed falcons to help us hunt birds. We tamed everything we could. Even the dangerous ones, Torvak said quietly. Especially the dangerous ones. Because the dangerous ones could help us. And because... Dr. Mellish paused. Because there is something in humans that loves a challenge. We see a creature that could kill us, and we think, but what if it didn't? What if we could be friends? The room was silent. The aliens looked at each other, then back at the old human professor. Every species in the Concord has companion animals, HFY said finally. But all of us chose prey animals. Small, gentle, harmless creatures. We never even thought about taming predators. The idea would seem insane to us. It probably seemed insane to the first human who tried it too, Dr. Mellish said. But they did it anyway. And because they did, humans never had to face the world alone. We always had partners. Hunting dogs at our sides. Cats in our homes. Horses carrying us into battle. We are not the strongest species. We are not the fastest. But we are never alone. We always have our pack. Torvak stood up slowly. His hard shell clicked as he moved. I am a warrior. I have fought many enemies. I have never been afraid. He looked at Dr. Mellish with new respect. But your ancestors walked up to apex predators and offered them friendship. That takes a courage I do not fully understand. It was not just courage, Dr. Mellish said. It was loneliness. It was need. It was the desperate desire to connect with another living being. Humans will bond with almost anything. Give us enough time, and we will love it. He turned off the screen. This is who we are. This is what 15,000 years of partnership has made us. We are the species that tames predators. And we would very much like to be your friends too. The committee looked at each other again. There was still fear in their eyes. But there was also something else now. Something like hope. Something like wonder. Maybe, just maybe, these strange humans were exactly what the galaxy needed. Kepler Station floated in the darkness between stars. It was a small place, far from the center of the galaxy. Traders stopped here to refuel. Travelers stopped here to rest. Nothing exciting ever happened on Kepler Station until the Raxians came. The Raxians were pirates. They were insectoid creatures with hard shells and too many legs. They moved in swarms, attacking ships and stations, taking everything valuable and killing anyone who resisted. The Concorde had been trying to stop them for 50 years. They had never succeeded. On the day of the attack, there were 43 Concorde citizens on Kepler Station. There were also 17 humans, most of them traders selling goods from Earth. And there were 6 dogs. Nobody expected the dogs to matter. But they did. The attack began at midday. Raxian boarding pods slammed into the station's outer hull. Emergency alarms started screaming. Lights turned red. People ran in every direction, trying to find safety. The Concorde security team followed their training. They retreated to the central safe room. They locked the doors. They called for help. Then they waited. This was the proper procedure. This was how civilized species handled danger. The humans did not follow this procedure. Paulo Vasquez was a merchant from a country called Brazil. He sold coffee and spices to alien traders. He was not a soldier. He had never been in a fight in his life. But when the alarm started, he did not run to the safe room. He ran toward the danger. His dog ran with him. Bruno was a Rottweiler. He weighed almost 50 kilograms. His ancestors had been bred 2,000 years ago to guard Roman soldiers and drive cattle. He had a massive head, powerful jaws, and muscles like iron under his black and brown fur. He was also the gentlest dog Paulo had ever known. He loved belly rubs. He was afraid of the vacuum cleaner. He slept with a stuffed toy shaped like a bone. But right now, Bruno was not gentle. Right now, he was something ancient and fierce. His lips pulled back from his teeth. A low growl rumbled in his chest. Every line of his body said, "Danger is coming." I will protect my human. Paulo found a metal pipe lying near a broken maintenance panel. It was not much of a weapon, but it was something. "Stay close, Bruno," he whispered. "We need to find the others." They moved through the corridors together. Paulo listened for sounds of fighting. Bruno used his nose, smelling the air for strangers. They made a good team. They had always made a good team. On the other side of the station, Margaret Way was facing her own battle. She was 67 years old. She had been a soldier once, long ago. Now she was retired, traveling the galaxy with her dog Charlie. Charlie was not an impressive dog. He was small and scruffy, a mix of breeds that nobody could identify. He was missing one eye from an accident years ago. His back legs were weak from age. He walked slowly and slept a lot. But when the Vraxians started cutting through the medical bay door, Charlie did not run. He did not hide. He stood between the door and the 15 terrified Concord citizens behind him, and he growled. Margaret looked at her old friend. "Charlie, you brave old fool." She found a metal pole and broke off the end, making a simple spear. It was a terrible weapon against armored aliens. It was probably useless. But Margaret had learned long ago that sometimes the fight itself mattered, even when you could not win. The door melted open. 3 Vraxians pushed through, their weapons raised. They saw a room full of prey. Easy targets. A simple raid. Then they saw the human and her dog. Charlie barked. It was not a loud bark. It was not a scary bark. He was old and tired and half blind. But he was standing his ground. He was protecting his people. The Vraxians hesitated. This was not in their experience. Prey animals ran. Prey animals hid. Prey animals did not stand in the open and challenge predators. Margaret did not give them time to figure it out. She moved fast for an old woman. Her spear caught the first Vraxian in the gap between its armor plates. The creature screamed and fell. The other 2 swung their weapons toward her, but they were confused, off balance. Charlie bit one of them in the leg. His old teeth could not break through the armor, but it was enough to distract the Vraxian to make it stumble. Margaret's spear found another gap. Another Vraxian fell. The third one tried to run. It did not get far. Margaret was a soldier, even after all these years. Soldiers finished what they started. When Concord security finally arrived, they found Margaret Way sitting on the floor with Charlie in her lap. The old dog was shaking. The fight had taken everything out of him. But his tail wagged weakly when he saw that his human was safe. On the other side of the station, they found Paulo Vasquez standing over 2 dead Vraxians. Bruno sat beside him, blood on his muzzle, watching for more enemies. 4 other humans were behind them, alive because a merchant and his dog had refused to retreat. Security Chief Dorvax reviewed the footage later. He watched it 3 times, unable to believe what he was seeing. "The humans did not retreat," he said to the committee. "They counterattacked. Untrained civilians, merchants and tourists. They picked up pipes and poles, and they fought." "Why?" Kethvari asked. "Our protocols say to retreat and wait for help. It is the logical choice. It is the safe choice." "I asked them the same question," Torvax said. He looked at his notes. Paulo Vasquez said, "Bruno would not let me hide while others were in danger. He taught me to be brave." Margaret Way said, "Charlie wouldn't leave without me, so I couldn't leave without him." The committee sat in silence. "The dogs did not run," Torvax continued. "They could have. They had no duty to fight. They had no training for combat. But they stayed with their humans. They protected them. And the humans stayed to protect the dogs." Ambassador Chun had joined the meeting. She looked tired but proud. "That is what we tried to explain. The bond between humans and their companions goes both ways. We protect them. They protect us. Neither of us wants to leave the other behind." The old dog, Yellow said quietly, "Charlie." He was half-blind and arthritic. He had no chance against armored raiders. No, he didn't. But he stood his ground anyway. Yes, because Margaret was behind him. He would rather die than let her face danger alone. Torvax put down his notes. He'd been a warrior for 200 years. He had seen bravery and cowardice in many forms. He had never seen anything like this. "The dog loved her," he said. "The dog truly loved her. Yes, Chan said simply. And she loves him. That is the heart of it, Chief Torvax. We did not tame predators to use them as weapons. We tamed predators because we wanted someone to love us. And they do. They love us completely, without reservation, without conditions. They would die for us, and you would die for them. Chum nodded, without hesitation, because they are not pets. They are not tools. They are family. Charlie survived the raid. He slept for 3 days afterward, exhausted from his final battle. Margaret stayed by his side the whole time, just as he had stayed by hers. When he finally woke up, he wagged his tail and licked her face. That was enough. That was everything. That was everything. The Great Assembly Hall of the Galactic Concord was the largest room ever built. It could hold 10,000 beings from 100 different species. Its ceiling was so high that clouds sometimes formed near the top. Its walls were covered with the flags and symbols of every civilization that had ever joined the Concord. Today, the hall was full. Representatives from across the galaxy had come to hear the verdict. Would humanity be welcomed into the Concord? Or would they be rejected as too strange, too dangerous, too alien to join civilized society? Minister Yellow of the Bravani walked slowly to the speaking platform. His 6 legs clicked against the stone floor. His soft brown fur was freshly groomed. He had never spoken to such a large audience before. His heart was beating very fast, but he had important things to say. Honored delegates, he began. For 3 cycles, we have studied humanity. We have analyzed their biology. We have examined their history. We have observed their social structures. And we have spent many hours watching them interact with the predator species of their homeworld. He paused, letting his words settle over the crowd. When we first encountered humans, we were confused. Then we were afraid. A species that keeps apex predators as companions? A species that sleeps beside creatures that could tear out their throats? Surely such beings must be mad. Surely they must be dangerous. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembly. Many delegates remembered their own first reactions to humans and their dogs and cats. But we were wrong, Yellow said. We were looking at the surface. We were seeing the predators without understanding the partnership. We were seeing the danger without understanding the love. He looked out at the thousands of faces watching him. Every spacefaring species in this room achieved dominance through one of 2 paths. Prey species like my own survived through numbers and caution. We worked together. We stayed safe. We tamed docile animals that could not hurt us. We built civilizations based on avoiding danger. He pointed toward the section where the Kreth warriors sat. Predator species like the Kreth survived through strength and territory. They fought for every scrap of food. They trusted no one outside their own clan. They tamed nothing because they needed nothing from other creatures. They built civilizations based on domination. Security Chief Torvax nodded slowly. This was a fair description of his people's history. Humans are different, Yellow continued. They are pursuit predators who develop the instincts of pack hunters. They are creatures capable of great violence who also feel an intense need for connection. They are afraid of danger, but they reach out anyway. They see death in the eyes of a wolf, and they offer it a piece of their meal. He clicked a button on his podium. Behind him, a massive screen came to life. It showed images that had become famous throughout the Concord in recent months. A child hugging a German shepherd twice her size. An old man walking slowly with an ancient dog by his side. A soldier in uniform, crying as he reunited with the dog he had left behind. These images confused us at first. We did not understand why humans would risk so much for animals that could hurt them. We did not understand why they would form such deep bonds with creatures so different from themselves. But then we learned the truth. The screen changed. It showed Margaret, Way, and Charlie in the medical bay of Kepler Station. The old woman holding her homemade spear. The old dog standing between her and the enemy. Humans do not tame predators because they are foolish. They do not do it because they are crazy. They do it because they are lonely. Yulo's voice softened. 15,000 years ago, a human sat by a fire. Perhaps they were the last survivor of their group. Perhaps they had been cast out by their tribe. Perhaps they were simply alone in the vast, dark, dangerous world. And then they saw a wolf watching them from the shadows. Any sensible creature would have thrown rocks at the wolf. Any sensible creature would have driven it away. But this human was not sensible. This human was lonely. And so they did something that changed the history of their species. They threw the wolf a piece of meat. The hall was completely silent. 10,000 beings held their breath. The wolf ate the meat, and it stayed. Night after night, the human threw more meat. Night after night, the wolf came closer. Until one day, the wolf was sitting beside the human. Until one day, the wolf was sleeping beside the human. Until one day, the wolf was no longer a wolf. It was a friend. Yellow straightened to his full height. This is what humans offer the Concord. Not just their technology. Not just their trade goods. Not just their military strength. They offer something far more valuable. They offer their capacity for connection. Humans look at us and they do not see strange aliens. They do not see threats. They do not see rivals. They see potential friends. They see creatures who might be lonely too. They see beings who might want companionship as much as they do. He gestured toward the human delegation, seated in a place of honor near the front of the hall. Ambassador Chun was there, along with Captain Rodriguez and Dr. Park. They had left their companion animals on Earth. But everyone knew those animals were waiting for them. Ambassador Chun told me something I will never forget. She said, the first human who befriended a wolf was probably considered insane. The wolf could have killed them, eaten them, but they reached out anyway because the loneliness was worse than the fear. Yellow let those words hang in the air. We spend our lives avoiding danger. We build walls and weapons and protocols to keep ourselves safe. And yet, we are still lonely. We still search for connection. We still hope that somewhere, somehow, we will find others who understand us. Humans found that connection in the most unlikely place. They found it in the eyes of predators. They found it in creatures that should have been their enemies. And they built a partnership that has lasted 15,000 years. He looked directly at the human delegation. If humans can befriend wolves, they can befriend anyone. If they can love creatures that could kill them, they can love us too. They are reaching out their hands to us, just as they once reached out to the wolves. The question is, are we brave enough to reach back? The silence stretched on. Then, slowly, Torvak stood up. The old Kreth warrior walked down from his section to stand beside Yolo. I have been a fighter all my life, Torvak said. I have never trusted easily. I have never made friends easily. But these humans, they make me want to try. He turned to face the assembly. I vote yes. Welcome the humans into the Concord. One by one, other delegates stood. Kethvari the insectoid, Dr. Melish's alien students, the Bravani traders, the Yulip scientists. They all rose to their feet. They all cast their votes. When it was done, the result was clear. The Galactic Concord had voted to welcome humanity. Ambassador Chun walked to the speaking platform. Her eyes were wet with tears. Beside her, Captain Rodriguez was smiling so wide it looked like his face might break. Thank you, Chun said simply. We promise to be the best friends you have ever had. She paused, then laughed. After all, we have 15,000 years of practice. Far away, on a small blue planet in an unremarkable solar system, A little girl threw a ball across a grassy field. Her golden retriever ran after it, ears flying, tail wagging, pure joy in every movement. When the dog brought the ball back, the girl hugged it tight and laughed. Neither of them knew they were the children of the most audacious partnership in evolutionary history. Neither of them knew that their species had looked at death incarnate and said, "I bet you want to be friends." They did not need to know. They had something better than knowledge. They had each other. And somewhere in the vast darkness of space, 1,000 alien species were finally beginning to understand why that mattered so much. The story of humanity and their predators was no longer just a human story. It was the story of the galaxy, and it was just beginning.